At home, often people believe it's more like you're on a vacation, but you're not. You have your daily chores. Driving long stretches is hard. But still though, it makes the journey itself, especially when you arrive at those special places, even more beautiful. And you are able to go to places you actually can't book. You will find places around the corner where you usually would never end up traveling to. And even outside of all the national parks, and to be honest, often it is more beautiful outside of the national parks, where there are no people and where it's just you, the surrounding, and that's the possibility you have with a vehicle, because it really brings you to those places and wherever you want and whenever you want. It's just possible if you do it, yeah, with a truck like this. Ever since I was a teenage boy, I had a dream about going into Africa, doing a huge trip. I've seen like footage from the Dakar Rally, and so I had a poster of that, like a motorbike from the Dakar Rally, flying over the dunes. And I always had that story of my dad in my head, because when he was young, he did a trip to the Middle East in one of those VW Beetle, the open tops. That somehow like started it. And while I was in university, suddenly my dad had a very bad accident. That really changed everything. When I finished my studies, I was able to do my first overland trip. Back then it was with a motorbike, 2 months through Spain. From there I started to specialize as a doctor, and life kept on. And like 10 years later, my dad died. A lot of things really unraveled after he died. So conflicts with family and everything somehow sorted out. And it was a huge effort, but also it freed myself. And suddenly I felt, okay, now I can do this trip. And lucky enough, I met Stefi. And I think it was on our second date when I told her, okay, I must be honest, I'm planning that trip, and do you want to come along? And yeah, she went really all in. When we started to build the truck, I mean, of course, you're on YouTube and watching all the certain channels, and then I saw a lot of footage of Paul, and I knew, okay, I want to get in contact with Paul. So we started to get in contact with Paul, said that we're going to build the truck in Europe, gave him just the rough idea. And of course, at the beginning, many people have the dream, okay, let's like cross Africa. But with COVID and all the border crossings you have to do, Paul brought that idea in, so why don't you just do the southern part of Africa? Still an amazing journey and stuff. And that settled in, and then that's when we decided we're going to ship the truck from Hamburg to Cape Town. From there on, we started then driving along the eastern coast of South Africa, all the way up to then Mozambique, and from Mozambique we went up to Malawi, and Malawi down then to Zambia, into Namibia, and then the final part that was then into Botswana and then back to South Africa again. The most I loved about the trip is actually the simplicity, because the thing is, if you travel in a truck, you have to leave many things behind. I mean, some of the things can be hard. I mean, it's family, it's friends, it's your animals. It can be an impact on you. But still though, when you leave everything like this behind, and even your belongings, so in a truck you really have to slim down, you learn that you actually don't need much. And you can really tell that less is then really more, and you already feel frightened if you just have too much stuff. And on that journey, while you think already that you don't have a lot of stuff, you suddenly feel, oh, it's again a lot of stuff, and you start throwing things out again. And that really feels like freeing yourself. That's, yeah. What we've been not prepared for was actually that relationship part. Because the most difficult thing actually on a trip that you really have to be aware of, especially if you travel with a partner, is you're in a closed compartment for a long period of time. And so it's really like if you travel for 10 months, it can be like 10 years of marriage, because really, you will learn so many things about you, yourself, and your partner, because it's really, you have a mirror the whole time in front of you, and you will learn sides from you and your partner you've never known they're there. And so that can be really challenging to face actually you, because in those really tiny space you're traveling in, you can't hide anything. It's not possible. Often social media videos where everything seems so light and everything, it's not. It's hard work for the relationship itself. But I believe important work, because then you really get to know you and your partner and your partnership. Stefi and I were on the road for like 8 months together. I mean, for me it's easy because I am a doctor, so it's not hard to find a job when you fly home, and for me my job was already waiting, so I'm just on leave. But for Stefi as a teacher, it was way more complicated. She couldn't really organize everything from Africa to secure her future job. Yeah, and that's why I then finished the trip on my own. And it was really hard part bringing Stefi to the airport in Windhoek. I remember it was really, when she left the truck and then flew away, I was in tears. And I mean, even the trip afterwards was very nice and enjoyed it a lot, but there was still a part missing. I especially experienced it actually when I arrived here in Cape Town. Again, after the 10 months traveling, I was in tears when I saw the Table Mountain. But still though, I was missing her, because we started the trip here together and then she's not being there, and it was not really the complete package. While you travel alone, because if you're just traveling as a couple, you do engage with other people, but when you're alone, you have to engage even more. So in that part, I'm happy because I met, in that small period I was traveling alone, so many nice other overlanders, even guys you know, or they're even on this channel. We met many of those people on the road, and I was even traveling with one of them together for like a period of 2 weeks through Botswana, and that was really amazing. It would probably didn't happen when I would travel with Stefi in Botswana, because the guy I was traveling with, he's traveling solo as well. So, and that just brought us together. Going back after those 10 months of really intense travel, I believe at the beginning it will be very difficult, because you're going back into your normal life. Everyone around you just lived the normal life, and you've been really out of everything. And what it will be really like, to be honest, at the moment I can't even really tell. Probably just in a year or so I'll really feel what has changed for me. Yeah, that's the honest truth. Traveling in a truck, doing overlanding, it really focuses everything in life, make you appreciate what you love in life. But because you've done that experience, the moment you hop into that truck and start the journey, you will be back in that feeling. And And that makes it so special. Once you've done that long trip, then the shorter ones are just a drawback, what you've already done, and you pick it up from there.
Thank you so much for joining us on our journey, sharing our films and following us. And if you would like to see more, please click on the link below, and we'd love you to contribute through Patreon.